Let's start with the Buffalo Bills, who are back in this thing, baby. A 20-17 win over the Chiefs. They are now 7-6 and very much in the mix in a crowded AFC wildcard race. And it feels like if they do get in, they would be dangerous. How
Mhm.
muddled the AFC feels right now with this Chiefs team being uneven. The Ravens have a lot of potential on both sides of the ball, but they're capable of these up and down weeks, whether it be their offense in some games or their defense today against the Rams. Who knows what's going on with Jacksonville right now? So if
Oh
the
man.
Bills get in, it still feels like everything is wide open enough in the AFC for things to get pretty damn interesting if they make the dance.
Yeah, and it goes back to kind of what you usually want to bet on, which is the quarterback.
Yeah.
And watching Josh Allen and Mahomes, but watching Josh Allen with his arm, legs, and just his mind today was a lot of fun. And it's really cool to see the growth of his game. How this Bills offense feels and how the defense feels too reminds me a little bit of how maybe not they didn't like revamp on the fly, but how maybe I feel about them, maybe the Bengals last year, and where it's just that I think this defense is not elite, or I don't even think it's very good, or not even good, but I think they can get game planned enough to have good stretches and create plays and do enough of good ball that they can keep this offense in games. And then you just keep that offense in games, obviously. And then last year, we'll talk about Burrow, but this year with Josh Allen, and seeing him like and using how they used him on offense, and they're using James Cook. I thought that was great, getting a little more explosive plays with James Cook, not only just like on the ground. Like, I mean, how many plays did they have? It's kind of cool to see these 6, 8 yarders turning into first downs. And it's not just Josh Allen running the ball, but of course the touchdown. I thought Romo actually did a good job of highlighting a couple of plays today. Like he, after that first touchdown, James Cook, he said, "This is what the Chiefs used to get everybody with," and I was like, "Yes, that's right. That's the
That
Kareem Hunt
running back seam
special."
play is the Kareem Hunt
Yes,
against the Patriots in week one
yes.
play from 2018 or
Oh,
2019, whatever year. I think it
yeah.
was
So
2018.
yeah, so Romo had a couple of good moments where I was like, "Hey, there you go, you're aware." But I also thought just like Josh Allen and like his awareness, and I've highlighted this before, but just him checking on protections and changing plays. Again, I thought he was fantastic, and again, it was cool. Remember, we've talked about this game with Dak Prescott. I would say that Vikings game against Mike Zimmer, you and I talked about it a few years ago, and we're like, how really cool the chess match on third down. Josh Allen against Spags was actually like a low key one that I actually kind of didn't think about as like a little bit of chess match, but changing protections, just another guy that's totally in control of the game. So like he's changing protections, creating explosive plays to James Cook against a blitz and changing it, sliding to the right. And on 2 plays later, he's carrying like 5 guys into the end zone on a
That
run.
drive, that entire drive. So earlier in that drive, McDuffie comes unblocked on a pressure.
Yeah.
Allen snaps his ankles in the backfield. He should have gotten dumped for a sack. Somehow gets away from it. Then, say a couple plays later, what you're talking about, he
Yeah.
slides the protection, and then he
So
says
good.
something to James Cook where I think he tells him to run that wheel up the left
He says wheel
sideline.
route. Yeah.
So, and he hit, it's a beautiful throw. They did a
Yep.
really good job in this game of taking advantage of the Chiefs linebackers in coverage.
Yep.
And it was the same sort of stuff we saw with the Packers last week, where a lot of motion was giving them trouble, just movement before the snap and emptying out the middle of the field, and they were attacking them consistently. So that happens. On 3rd and 7, he scrambles to set up a 4th and 1 on that drive. On the 4th and 1, he's buying time outside of the pocket and waiting and waiting and waiting, and throws a little sidearm throw around the defensive lineman to Kincaid
Yeah.
on 4th and 1, and then finishes it off with a 7-yard quarterback draw where he drags 6 guys into the end zone.
Yeah.
That was one drive, one
Yeah.
single drive in this game.
It's watching him just take over for whole stretches where it's just play after play. It's like that. Man, there's moments he had these moments last year. I remember the Vikings game was one, but I thought they had a great game plan stuff with messing with Willie Gay the whole game. That protection one we're talking about. But anytime that he came on a blitz or he lined up as like an edge player, as like an outside linebacker on the ball, the Chiefs love using him that way. And it felt like anytime they were trying to do that, the Bills had a check or had a play for it or had some adjustment. So I was kind of curious. I was like, oh, you guys were on it. They had like a run play where Mitch Morse captured them. I thought they did a fantastic job. I will say the clock management right outside the 2 minute warning at the end of the game. Holy crap. Drop bubble by Stephon Diggs, incomplete to Diggs, and then almost sack, desperate heave to Kincaid. It's like, give him. You guys didn't even get into the 2 minute. But I did think that they had some really nice moments. This Bills offense did, but that's just watching Josh Allen down in, down out, doing the mental stuff and then doing the freaky stuff. It's awesome. Just
We
taking
know
over
about
games.
him and we know what he can do. Again, it's the layers that maybe you can't count on all the time. And you mentioning James Cook, he had these 2 huge plays in the passing game, but what they could do in the run game in stretches today was really important.
Yeah.
That drive in the third quarter where they're running a lot of that 11 personnel tackle pull stuff, and then the Mitch Morse play that you mentioned, they had 2 tackle pull plays and Mitch Morse pulling on a play out of 11 personnel in some of those more spread out sets, and we're getting chunks consistently on all those plays. And then that same drive, they had a screen to Shakir and just ball control. Again, it's just the type of kind of calm down, take a deep breath. Let's have our finger on the pulse of the way we want to play this game sort of offense that we like to see from the Bills. And they came out, kicked a field goal on that drive, went up 17-14. So it's a nice combination of Josh Allen playing hero ball and then some buttons that they're pressing to give them consistent offense in some of these areas.
And it was cool. And this is the element that James Cook adds. And this is kind of always the lost element of having an explosive receiving running back is checkdowns, especially play action checkdowns. And so many times today, that's just isolating James Cook on a Chiefs linebacker. You mentioned that the Chiefs linebackers had a rough day. But it was, play action, James Cook, get him one-on-one, just a burst route, running away and just getting him in space. And I think that's always something. Those are the hidden yards that those explosive types of receivers or explosive types of running backs can create. So it was just, again, those are just simple things, but there's several times Allen didn't really look like he was even reading down the field. He kind of was, but it was like in the back of the mind, he was going, "Oh, I love this matchup." So again, that's what the NFL is. It's matchups and picking at it. That's what Kyle Shanahan does. He just finds 20 different ways to do it. But when you see a quarterback starting to do that, that's when you know that's a new level because they're aware. They're going like, "Oh, this is working. Okay, I'm going to go to it 3, 4, 5 more times."
We did mention the insane play to Latavius Murray on the left sideline that
ultimately
didn't lead to any points, but one of the craziest plays of the year.
Next Gen Stats had a great stat about it. Like he has 5 throws within a yard of the sidelines. No one else has more than 1. That just this year.
I still am not sure it was complete. I think he was bobbling it most of the time he was running with it. He never had control of it. That is one of those plays though. Real cool. You have to just if anything is on the line there, if there's any sort of closeness, you got to put it over. Easily. That should count based on how cool it was.
Tie goes to the coolness. When he was like working out of bounds, it was funny because from the sideline view, you're kind of like, oh, he's probably out of bounds, right? Romo thought the same thing. Everybody thought the same thing, and then they showed a replay. And he's like, no, he got that off. He got that off clean. That's not even close. He easily got that off. But that play was also my favorite call ever from Romo. Jim, that was 7 things. That was
I'm so glad you brought this up. What do you think the 7 things are?
Okay, so Allen getting out of the pocket.
Okay.
Allen's throw, 2. Okay. Latavius catching it, so I guess that's 3. Then fumbling, so I guess catch and fumble is 3. The first bop over is probably 4, and then we got about 3 more bops probably. So yeah, so that's the 5, 6, 7.
Romo had a special game today. It was a special outing from Tony Romo today. Jim, that's 7 things. I really wanted to ask you what the 7 things were.
Jim, that was 7 things. Oh my God, I couldn't stop laughing because I kept replaying it. It's great because you could do YouTube TV on here on my laptop. So I kept replaying it because I wanted to see what the hell happened. And that just kept playing over and over. Jim, that was 7 things. And I was just dying laughing, by myself, just like a lunatic.
Really encouraging day from the Bills. Gets them back in the conversation. Still, we're 2-3 plays away from them losing this game, including a play that should have been the game-winning touchdown or potentially could have been the game-winning touchdown if Kadarius Toney didn't line up a full yard offside. I understand Patrick Mahomes being frustrated after the game, complaining about it. He was a yard offside. It's totally fine for them to call that in the moment. And I thought Terry McAuley during the halftime show of the Eagles-Cowboys game had an interesting observation when he said, yes, that has not been a play or a penalty that's been called consistently over the last couple of years. It's been called 11 times this year. So they have been looking for it more often. So it's been more of a point of emphasis. He was a full yard offside. I have no problem with them calling that penalty in that moment, even if it's a really exciting play, even if it's a game swinging play.
No, I understand it. I think the thing for me is like they didn't get the warning, which I can understand the frustration. It's still the penalty. They don't have to give the warning. It's usually typically when the guy also like Tony should not be like free because it's just like a borderline call. It's not even a borderline call. He was offsides. It's
Egregious, I think, is the word that was
agree.
being used. I think when they were asking a reporter when they did the pool report afterwards, I
Yeah.
want to say the ref said that if it's egregious, where it's totally clear that he's offsides, we are not
His whole foot
obligated to
was
give
over.
them a warning.
Yeah,
Exactly.
yeah. He was offsides. Yeah, like I'm not even debating that. I think it was the operation to it, and then the Von Miller bumping off on the next play. I think it was just Mahomes just had it. Plus, he was probably just freaking frustrated the entire game.
Yeah.
Oh, I mean, you could just tell. It's the first. I mean, him, Herbert, Trevor Lawrence, they've all had some heated moments this year, even more than you usually see. Like a lot of like young receivers really making these quarterbacks frustrated. But he had one where it ended up being incomplete to Rashee Rice. I think Rice got the touchdown later on the drive. It's in the red zone, but they do a motion and there's like a bunch formation, three guys there. And he just screams at him to like flip because one of the guys was on the ball and one should have been off. And he yells and he throws it and you could just see him going like kind of like woo-saw, like just like do not scream at these guys right now. But you could tell he was just like he's done. Like he is so ticked off, like play in, play out. So I think all that sequence at the end was just him. Like I'm channeling this towards the ref because I want to yell at all my teammates right now.